Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakar HaKorash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at GMS. Peace, honor, and respect to you brothers that's out there laboring, edifying, rightly dividing the word in truth and sincerity. And Shalom to you believers out there, the Akim wa Akwathium. And what I want to go into is basically, the blessings of the life to come, all right? Life after Esau, because contrary to popular belief, all right, we do, and when I say we, I mean the children of Israel, we have a vast amount of blessings that we can't even imagine after this life. And when I mean this life, I mean, when Esau rulership is taken down, all right? But like the scripture says, some of us will not taste death. But at the same time, we won't be in these same bodies. Our minds, we will be transformed, basically, okay, into righteousness, okay? Because when Yahweh Shah come, what he is bringing with the blessings and everlasting kingdom is righteousness, okay? And with that, all Israel, we will have the laws in our inward part, so we're not going to be sinning no more, all right? And that's a blessing. This is coming. Life after Esau. As a matter of fact, let's just get to the scriptures, all right? And you see 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at 7. It says, Then I answered and said, and this is Ezra, okay? Then I answered and I said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of the world, and Jacob, the Israelites, is the beginning of it that follows. So how you said, hey, we got next, man. Okay. And that's a blessing because we have been going through these curses. But guess what? Those curses are going to go unto our enemies, which is all the rest of these nations outside of the nation of Israel. All right, starting with Esau, Edom, and the top elites first. All right. So now I want to go over to when you go to Deuteronomy 30. All right, starting at verse 1, it says, And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, and the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all nations, whither the Lord thy power have driven thee, all right, and shalt return unto the Lord thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy power have scattered thee. See, and this is what we have to look forward to, okay? This is what we got to look forward to. What? That the Lord is going to turn our captivity, meaning we're going to be out of captivity, okay? And he's going to have compassion upon us and return us back to our land where he scattered us. As a matter of fact, when you go to Jeremiah, all right, chapter 16. Matter of fact, Salaki, I'm jumping the gun. When you go to Jeremiah, first I want to handle one thing. When you go to Jeremiah 31, all right, and starting at verse 31, it says what? Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. And that's what I was going into, okay, this new covenant, all right. Verse 32, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husbandman unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. All right. See? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord. Because see, when we get them laws, they're gonna be in us. So Israel's not gonna have to be taught no more. Like today, where you listen to the videos, you studying and things of that nature. No, you won't have to do that. All the laws, everything gonna be in our inward parts. Okay? So continuing on, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. See, and this is what we have to look forward to. All right, having these laws from the least Israelite to the greatest. Okay, this is what we got to look forward to. Besides all of the perks and pleasures that the Lord have stored up for us. Excuse me. So this is what we have to look forward to, Israel. Okay, this is life after Esau. All right, the blessings. All right, because when you read Deuteronomy 28 from like 15 to 68, it tell you about the curses, and that's what we've been going through. But see, 1 through 14 is those blessings, and that's what we coming into. All right, so going back to Deuteronomy in 30. All right, I left off at verse 3. I'm gonna read verse 3 again. That then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee. Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. See, and that's what I was about to go to when you go to Jeremiah, because what he say? He said what? He's gonna bring us into the land which our fathers possessed. The land Israel. It was the land of Canaan, then Israel, okay? Which our fathers possessed, all right? Because we've been scattered as Israelites. That's a sign that we are the Israelites, okay? You know? So when you go to Jeremiah, all right, that's basically reiterated. When you go to Jeremiah chapter 16, all right, and I'm going to start at verse 14. It says what? Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And see, you know, that was a great work. So imagine that's not really being talked about no more. Why is that? Verse 15, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. See? And that's Israel, all right? Because when we go back, man, these heathens going to build up the kingdom, and we going to be decked out. All right, and we ain't gonna have no war. Wars is gonna be no more evil. Everything gonna be in righteousness perpetually under Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay, because Yahushua is his kingdom given to him by the Heavenly Father Yahweh. All right, and then every respective man under Yahushua. Okay, everybody's gonna rule in righteousness. Okay, so going back to Deuteronomy. But see, we going back to that land, y'all. There's going to be life after Esau. And see, the land, this how you know those small hats over there now is not the people, because that land is in total chaos. All right? It's not decked out. It's not in righteousness. So you know those ain't the people. Okay? Because if Israel, if the real people was in the land, then things would be different. All right? The Lord haven't brought the people that's been scattered back to the land. Okay. So going back to Deuteronomy 30. All right. And I left off at verse 5. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. See, and that's going back to that new covenant. All right, verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. See, and this is what's coming to Esau right now. Okay, he's at the beginning of stages of the curses being put upon him. This is why you see America circling a drain. This is why you see Russia and China and BRICS nations coming together to come against NATO and, you know, things of that nature. You see the inflation, you see the famine looming, you see the pestilence. Why is that? Because this is the end of Esau's kingdom. And these curses is going to be put upon him. See? So when you go to Deuteronomy 28, all right, because what was one of those curses that was put upon us that we're still living through right now? But see, what's going to happen to Esau Edom? Deuteronomy 28 and 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And see, Israel is going to be high, and Esau is going to come down low, as well as with these strangers. Okay? Because they're going to get them curses too. And see, he shall lend to thee. That's what's happening right now. He's lending. He got all the resources and things of that nature. But see, in the worlds to come, it's gonna reverse and go back to what it's supposed to be. Okay? We're going to have those resources. We're going to be the lenders. They're going to be the borrowers. All right? We're going to be the head, and they're going to be the tail. Okay? Matter of fact, when you go to Isaiah, let's get a precept on that. When you go to Isaiah chapter 14, all right, starting at verse 10, it says, and they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? All right. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And this is going into what everybody's going to be saying to Esau. All right. You got these heathen nations that's going to be saying that. All right, too, as well. But see, everybody's going to be saying this about Esau. All right. And when you go into Lucifer, let me throw this out there. That's not talking about the spiritual being Satan. And as I read on, you're going to be able to tell. Okay. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. All right, because Esau got a God complex. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? See, this is how you know they're not talking about the spiritual being Satan. Because see, it say, O Lucifer, okay, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? But when you go to 16, it says what? They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners? See? And that's the man, Esau Edom, okay? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. And see, this is Esau Edom destiny, okay? This is Esau Edom destiny right here, all right? His kingdom is going down, is going to go down. He's going to be trodden underfoot, never to return into power. See? All right. So going back, this is life after Esau. For them to be going down to the pit, but us to be coming up high in heavenly places. All thanks to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So going back to Deuteronomy 30. All right. And I left off at verse 7, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. See, all these other nations. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. Yup. And that's going back to that new covenant when them laws is going to be in our inward parts. Okay. And the Lord thy power make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy father. See, and this is the blessings, because in the curses it was in the reverse. When we planted, they took. Okay, even when we had wives, they took. Everything we had, Esau, Edom took. And as well as these other nations, they licked the sores of our wounds, according to Lazarus and the rich man. Okay. But see, Esau, Edom took everything that we had. All right. But see, right here, what do it say? And the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hands. And see, this is reiterated again in Deuteronomy 38. But let's get a precept, another precept, going back to Isaiah chapter 14. All right. And when you start at verse 1, it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Israel and Slakia. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, okay, and yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. See? So it's going to flip-flop. Where we was the servants and handmaids, they're going to be the servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. See? This is what's going to happen. All right? And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. See? You see what I'm saying? And that's going back. That's going to be all of the blessings. All right. All of the blessings, man. But continuing on, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. See, and we in the new Babylon the Great. All right. The virgin daughter of Babylon, which is America. Okay. Against the king of Babylon, and say, how have the oppressors ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. See? And these are part of these curses, okay? When that staff get broke, them curses, that's a part of the curses, okay? He who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole world is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. And this is what we got to look forward to. As well as these other nations, when Esau is taken out of power, nobody's going to be crying, man. All right. Even the other nations really don't deal. They got to deal with Esau because, okay, on a spiritual, on a deep level, the Lord has put him in power. So nobody can come against that. But at the same time, his military might. Why is that? Again, because he was blessed with the sword. All right. But see, the whole earth is going to be at rest and quiet when Esau is taken out of power. Why? Because Yahweh Shah going to be, set up, and he's going to set men up. Okay. And Israel as a whole going to be in righteousness. Okay. And Esau is not going to come into power. And the rest of these heathen nations is not going to be over us. So they're going to be able to enjoy the benefits of being ruled in a righteous kingdom. Okay? This is what we got to look forward to. All right? So when you go to, matter of fact, now going back to Deuteronomy, all right, 30. And where I left off, verse 9, what did it say? And the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, and the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. Okay. And matter of fact, let me get another precept after that, going back. When you go to Isaiah again, all right, in 60. And starting at verse 9, it says what? Surely the owl shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far their silver and their gold with them unto the name of the Lord thy power and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. Okay. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. And what happened in that new covenant? We're going to have mercy, because in the laws is going to be in our inward parts. See? That's reiterated. Okay. Again, in Jeremiah 30:31. Also in Deuteronomy 30. Continuing on, verse 11. Therefore thy gate shall be open continually. It's always going to be work in the kingdom. You heathens, Esau, all of y'all are always going to have work to do in the kingdom. It's never going to be an off day except for the Sabbath. And it's never going to be a recession. It's never going to be a lack of work. All right. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. See? You see, because even after the 1,000 years, when Edom is eradicated, the other heathen nations, they're gonna have a little something, but they still gonna be tributaries. They're never gonna be coming back into power where we have to ask them for anything or borrow from them. No, we still gonna rule over them. We still have affairs and issues that we're gonna have to handle in their kingdom per se when they go off. Okay, because Yahweh Shai is going to set up men, okay, to establish, to make sure that the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, okay, is enforced. Just like in Esau kingdom, he had laws, and then you had the police, you had an FBI and things of that nature that enforced the laws. Well, the 144,000 is going to be those men that's going to enforce laws, okay, and Israel as a whole just going to be in righteousness. But like I said, Yahweh Shai is going to have men that's going to enforce the laws, okay, of the Heavenly Father. All right. And this is what we have to look forward to, Israel. Okay. Life after Esau. All right. So again, Deuteronomy 30 and verse 9, and the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee, good as he rejoiced over thy fathers, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. See, there go that law. And if thou turn unto the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Okay? See? And them laws is what made Israel great. As a matter of fact, I just thought about something. I ain't really have it queued up, but I want to get it. Let me get it. I might have passed it. Yep. So Deuteronomy 4. I'm going to start at 5, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power had commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom. Israel was given the laws, not all these other nations. Okay? Only Israel. That's why the new covenant is for who? Israel. You can't come into the new covenant when you weren't given the old covenant. All right? For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great who have the Most High? So now unto them as the Lord our power is in all things that we call upon him for. And what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? See? And this is what made us great, man. This is what made Israel great. This is what made Israel great. All right. But see, we're going to be great again. Okay. Because why? Those laws going to be in our inward parts. Okay. And this is what we got to look forward to life after Israel, those blessings, okay? Forever, a perpetual rulership and righteousness. So Lord willing, it was edifying. To the next lesson. Shalom.